The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown before you make your final decision. Let Greg Greenwood and the folks at Greenwood Chevrolet, let them give you an opportunity to earn your business. You will not be sorry that you did that. If you give them an opportunity, trust me when I tell you, it is going to be something that you will be very thankful for. All right, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Interesting things going on in baseball. Before we get to that, let me just first say that we do have plenty of basketball games tonight. We have regional basketball games tonight, as well as college basketball with the YSU men and women both in action. The YSU women will be in action at Milwaukee. That game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. The YSU men are in action. That game starts at 7:30 tonight in Oakland, which is north of Detroit. We have regional basketball action set for tonight at about 8:15. Poland will be taking on Perry from Barberton High School. That is in Division 2. I believe South Range is going to be playing their game against Warrensville Heights tomorrow night. I could be wrong on that. They're scheduled to play tonight, but I thought I saw that they were going to move that game because the South Range boys are playing tonight, and they did not want the two teams to be playing at the exact same time. I might be off on that, but we can certainly talk a little bit about that. Also, the guys are going to be in action as well. Plenty of basketball. D2, D3, and D4 will be jumping in with the district tournaments and all kinds of games, as it's district week for the guys, regional week for the gals, and we can certainly talk a little bit about that. Some disturbing news coming out of the Indians organization. This morning, The Athletic came out with a story. Mickey Callaway, the Indians pitching coach, who had been the pitching coach during the time period in which the Indians were in the 2016 World Series, and they were in the height of a really good baseball, a couple of baseball seasons where Mickey Callaway was the pitching coach. He then went to take the job as the manager of the New York Mets. Well, as it turns out, Mickey Callaway has quite a past in regards to his treatment of women. Women not only in baseball, in front offices. inside the organization, whether it's front office, whether it is women that covered the team, whether it's just fans in general. He has quite a history of not treating women very well, sexual harassment charges and whatnot. And Mickey Callaway was, he left the Indians to become the manager of the New York Mets, and then he was fired as the manager of the New York Mets. He was hired in the Angels organization as their pitching coach, and then news broke of all of the stuff going on in Mickey Callaway's life. And that's where Chris Antonetti, who is now the Indians president, at the time said, well, we didn't know anything about this. This morning in The Athletic, there is an article that directly contradicts what Chris Antonetti said months ago when this story was broken. There is a lot of things going on in Cleveland right now. Not in Cleveland, but in Goodyear, Arizona, where the Indians are working out. There is the possibility that there's people in the front office that can lose their job over this. And I want to be I want to be as fair as humanly possible with this. But as everyone knows, I was blessed to be in professional sports. I've been very blessed to cover professional sports. I've been very blessed to be a big part in some way, shape, or form with baseball, but also in the National Football League, the NBA, and to an extent, the National Hockey League. To say that this is something that is out of the unordinary, that it normally doesn't happen, would be an absolute lie. And to say that the Indians, well, they should be firing anyone that's involved in this. Understand that if that's the case, then you're going to probably be looking at half the front offices in Major League Baseball looking for a new job as well. This is not an isolated incident, and this is certainly not something that is just in the minds of one person who is not a very good human being. This is something that has been going on for quite some time, and it's not just in Major League Baseball, it's in minor league baseball, and it's not just in baseball, it's in all four sports. This has been something that's been going on for quite some time, and the reality is this is barely scratching the surface. If you want ugly stories, there will be ugly stories coming down the pike, much uglier than what we're hearing right now. And that's not me speculating. That is an absolute stone cold fact. That if people wanted to air some dirty laundry, there would be stories that would make this story seem somewhat normal. The truth of the matter is, this is not something that is isolated. This has been going on in Major League Baseball for quite some time. This has been going on in all four major sports for quite some time. And in the world that we live in today, where it is no longer going to be swept under the rug, there are going to be some people that are going to feel the backlash of this. Now, I'm going to probably say something that's quite unpopular, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I were Paul Dolan, I would not fire Chris Antonetti. I would not fire Mike Chernoff, and I would not fire Terry Francona. I wouldn't fire any of the three guys. I wouldn't. I would reprimand them, but I wouldn't fire them. And I say that because it was not the situation that it is now. Now that might be a piss poor excuse for some people, and that's fine. That's fine. If the Indians go about and having one of these three or all three of these guys fall on the sword on this, and for Antonetti's case, he's probably the biggest one at fault, to where he flat out lied when he said, well, we don't have any information about this. Terry Francona does not come into very good light in this either. According to The Athletic, Terry Francona was quoted as saying, I am not about to lose my pitcher. I'm not about to lose my pitching coach over this. Doesn't put him in a good light. It does not put him in a good light. But I will tell you right now, from someone who has been in this business, baseball and all the other professional sports, there is I don't want to say a code, but there is a duty, for lack of a better word, that you don't rat anybody out when it comes to stuff that is not considered to be law-breaking or anything of that nature. Now, what he did was disgusting? Absolutely. And there's no two ways about it. And he's probably never going to work in baseball again, and hopefully he doesn't. Very talented guy, but, got some problems there. But as far as, guys that are protecting their own people, that's part of the culture of sports. And that's part of the culture. You're protecting your own people, even though you know that this person has done something quite shady. You're protecting this person because he's one of your guys. You're protecting him. Is it wrong? Yeah. Especially if it's something of horrible stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what Paul Dolan does as the owner of the Cleveland Indians. I'll be very interested to see what he does. My whole argument of not firing any of the three is what came to light is something that happened 4 or 5 years earlier. And I don't want to sound insensitive because it's a horrible. It's a horrible subject in which to deal with, and it's a horrible thing that Mickey Callaway has done. It's something that happened 5 years ago where the rules of this are completely different now than today, than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. What has come to light now is, hey, this stuff is unacceptable, and if you see it, you got to get rid of this person. We can go back to other sports, and not the same, but something just as sinister. Go back to Joe Paterno at Penn State University, where one of the grad assistants saw Jerry Sandusky with a young kid in the shower and didn't do anything about it, and then went to Joe Paterno, and Joe Pa, did he do enough? Hell no, he didn't. Did he go to authorities? Yeah, sort of. Sad. And it cost him, at the end of the day, it cost him his job because, this is something a million times worse in the grand scheme of things. There have been plenty of stuff through the years that have been swept under the rug. And it's not an argument, but it's something that if all of this were to come out, this is not even the tip of the iceberg. If all of the atrocities that have happened, not just in Major League Baseball, but in all four sports in terms of sexual harassment, if all of those atrocities ever came out, this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. somewhere along the line when women decided to come into this business and become members of the front office or cover the team for a living, they weren't given the same opportunities. They weren't treated the same way. They still aren't in some ways. They still aren't. I remember, oh God, we're going to go back almost 20 years. 2002, I was in the Dodger organization. Kim Ang, who is now the general manager or one of the higher ups in Toronto, was in the Dodger organization. And when I tell you this, it's a flat out fact. Kim Ang knew more about baseball in that Dodger front office than anybody. Not even close. And if Kim Ang were a guy, she would have been a general manager or a president within 1 to 2 years. She's that talented. Never got an opportunity to be a general manager or a president of a team until this off season. Almost 20 years. It's the truth. Women have been treated differently in the sport because they're coming into, and this is going to sound sexist, but it's the truth. They're coming into a male-oriented business. And there's a lot of people in the business that don't want any part of women in the business. And this is part of the result. This is part of the result of there are a lot of people in sports, a lot of people, that if you gave them truth serum, they would sit back and say, we do not want women in a male-oriented sport. We just don't. I don't give a shit if you're, good enough, qualified enough. We don't want you. There's a lot of people in sports that have that attitude. Now, far less than 20 years ago, but there are still a lot of people that feel that way in sports. And that's part of what's going on right now. That's part of the reason why a lot of this gets swept under the rug. Now, what the Indians decide to do, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. Again, would I fire Antonetti? He's probably the guiltiest of the guilty. And if someone does go, he's probably going to be the guy. Is Francona's job safe? Depends on what Paul Dolan wants to do. Now, there's a lot of people that are like, well, Dolan should be punished for this. This is under his watch. Well, hang on a second. If you listen to the theory of what owners are supposed to be, the definition of an owner is find the president, general manager, or both that you trust explicitly to run your organization, and then back the hell away from it and let these guys do their job. Let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the general manager handle the business side of the game within the players, the managers, the coaches, the salaries and whatnot. Let the president handle the business side of the game in terms of ticket sales, season tickets, the whole 9 yards. Everything from the business side, everything from the players / business side is the GM's job. Everything from the business side, non-players, is the president's job, and the owner just sits on his or her butt in the suite, and they're having a grand old time watching their product. So for Dolan, I'm not going to hold Paul Dolan responsible for the actions of knuckleheads. Now, for Antonetti, look, if this story is true in The Athletic, he has lied. Does lying cost you your job? I don't know. It's up to Paul Dolan. If Paul Dolan doesn't trust this guy anymore, or if he believes that he violated a trust, then he's going to get fired. And like I said, this story doesn't put Tito in a pretty good light either. I mean, Terry Francona is quoted as saying when the stuff hit the fan, hey, I don't want to lose my pitching coach over this. Okay, I mean, he's not in a pretty good light. And it's going to be interesting to see what Paul Dolan does with this. Personally, I would sit back and reprimand the heck out of him, but I wouldn't fire any of the three. I would reprimand the heck out of him, though, and say, look, this ain't happening anymore. This is now a world in which you better get used to the fact that there are going to be qualified women that are going to be working in the front office, qualified women that are going to be going into the locker room as a reporter, qualified women that are going to be in the broadcast booth, qualified women that are going to be working within sports. And if you don't like it, then leave or go do something else. Go do something else or get out of the business all entirely. But the reality is, this is no longer a fad. Women in sports is no longer something where, only a couple of people do this. No, that glass ceiling was broke. There are people in the business of sports that are more than qualified. And it's now long past due that they're given the same respect, treated the same way, and that's that. And if you can't do that, then you need to leave. You need to leave the organization and go somewhere else or get out of the business altogether. But the reality is the landscape of professional sports has changed, and there are more than a handful of women that are in a male-oriented professional sports, qualified to do their job. And you better treat these people with the same respect. Period. The past, it's I would wholeheartedly suggest if it gets to Commissioner Manfred, if it gets to Commissioner Goodell, if it gets to Adam, God, who the hell's the commissioner of the NBA? Not David Stern. Gary Bettman is the commissioner of the NHL. Why am I having a blank mind when it comes to the NBA's commissioner? Anyway, I would wholeheartedly suggest don't open Pandora's box. Don't even think about it, because you don't want to open that box. Trust me when I tell you, you don't want to open that box, because what you're going to find is going to put an ugly light on all sports. And an ugly light on a whole bunch of people. You don't want to open Pandora's box. You just don't want to do that. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Youngstown State men and women's teams both in action in the quarterfinals. They're both on the road. Fingers crossed. Hopefully they get the job done. As I mentioned yesterday, you got solid head coaches and tacticians and strategists in John Barnes and Jared Calhoun. Man, get those two guys into the semifinals and get those two guys to have 6 days to prepare for their next opponent. And my money's on YSU in both of those games, because both of these guys, they're really good when it comes to the X's and O's. And this is a huge game for both teams. This is a huge game for both the men and the women. The women, they've had more success in this than the guys have. But it's been a while for the women to be in the NCAA tournament. It's only, what was it, the turn of the century, 99, 2000, I think was the last year that the Penguins went into the tournament. So it's been 20-plus years. For the guys, they've never been in the NCAA tournament. So for the guys, this is, year 4 of Jared Calhoun. In the last year, this was their stumbling block. Last year was quarterfinals. They couldn't get out of the quarterfinals. And we had Rob Schmidt on yesterday. It is so important for the Penguins to get the job done tonight in Oakland so they can get past this stumbling block and find your way to the Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis to get to the semifinals. And then anything can happen. You're 2 wins away. Now, obviously, you'd have to play back-to-back. Semifinals are on a Monday. The finals are on a Tuesday. But you would have an opportunity, if you win this quarterfinal game, you would have an opportunity to have 5-6 days to prepare for the semifinals. And I'll take Jared Calhoun any day of the week in that scenario. And I would take John Barnes any day of the week in that scenario as well. Both teams will be in action. We'll see what happens. We got tournaments out the wazoo today. District tournaments for the guys, regional tournaments for the gals. Should be an awful lot of fun. Lots of things going on in sports. Again, we mentioned the disturbing story today in The Athletic. If you have a subscription to The Athletic and you have not seen it, by all means, check it out. It's a disturbing story. It's a disturbing story, one of, if the story is accurate, one of a cover-up. And where the Indians go from here, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be very curious to see where the Indians go from here in terms of the potential cover-up that has happened with Mickey Callaway. But, like I said, while a lot of people have looked really bad in this, if this story is accurate, again, the landscape has changed tremendously, and this is up to the Dolan family what they want to do with this. I don't put any of this. I don't put blame on this to the Dolan family per se. I don't put blame on this to the Dolan family per se. I think a lot of folks that don't like the Dolan family are conveniently lumping them into this whole problem with the Indians. The name change, the myth, and it is just that, a myth, that this owner doesn't spend money. The myth that this team, and simply put, it is a myth, that this team is horribly run. The myth that Dolan is the worst owner in Cleveland. There's a lot of people that don't like the Dolan family for multiple reasons, and it is what it is. They're going to conveniently attach the Dolan family to what is going on right now with Cleveland, which I think is a joke. Having said that, it's going to be interesting to see what the family does. Is it going to be a complete house cleaning? Does Antonetti, Chernoff, and Tito all lose their job? Is it a front office cleansing where they get rid of everybody that knew about this? Like I said, the story's not a good story. It isn't. But if you're planning on going on a cleansing crusade, just be prepared to empty a lot of people, a whole lot of people, in a whole lot of front offices and a whole lot of other positions in all of sports. And if you're going to open Pandora's box, you better be prepared what you're about to see, because this is the tip of the iceberg. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. It's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you don't want to open Pandora's box. I know if I were still in the game, I wouldn't want to open Pandora's box. Believe me when I tell you that is a box that I would not want to open, because I know what's on the other side. And I know how many people, not just in baseball, would be affected by it. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout. We'll hopefully hear from Dre Smith. We're going to get the lowdown on what's going on with the YSU women as they prepare for a team that, unfortunately, they didn't play during the course of the year. Milwaukee was not on their schedule. Even the games that the YSU women missed, the two series, 4 games in total that they missed, the 2 games against Green Bay, 2 games against Oakland, neither one of them. Neither one of those series were played. None of the 4 games were played. The Penguins, they weren't supposed to play Milwaukee this year. So unfortunately, this is going to be their first look at Milwaukee. Now, on the flip side, it's Milwaukee's first look at Youngstown State. So all things are equal. We'll catch up with Dre Smith and talk a little bit about that at 1 o'clock. We'll have Dan Bertolini on. Dan Bertolini's team, they went to Louisiana, played very well. They were in a lot of their games. In the first 8 games of the season, I think the Penguins are 2-6. They've been in a lot of games. And it's just the little change here, a little different outcome here, and it's a much, much different season record-wise. There's 2-6, it's, it is what it is, but the 2-6 record, look, they're a lot better than 2-6. And I know some people are going to say, hey, the record is what you are. Okay, I get that. But this will be a team that will be really good in the league. This is a team that's going to be more than competitive in the Horizon League. And I believe that this is a team that's going to seriously open some eyes in the Horizon League. And they have all the potential in the world and all the talent in the world to become a top 3, top 2 type of team in the Horizon League. And we'll certainly talk about that with Dan Bertolini as the Penguins get prepared for the opening of conference play this weekend. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We're back in a bit. It's Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at bairdbrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We got plenty of basketball tonight. The boys are going to be doing district basketball. Let's go to Division 4 first. All of these games are tonight. Wellsville is going to be hosting Matthews in the Northeast 1 district. That's the district that JFK would have been in, but they chose to jump into McDonald's district. So number 5 Wellsville will be hosting number 12 Matthews. This was the Matthews team that upset the 3rd seed overall in the D4 tournament. Matthews upset them in overtime. So Matthews will take a trip to Wellsville tonight in one of the district semifinals. The other district semifinal, number 4 Bristol, will be hosting number 6 Lowville. Both of those games will get underway at 7 o'clock. In the other district, McDonald, the number 1 seed, is going to be hosting number 8 Valley Christian. That's going to be a tough game for McDonald. Valley Christian is one of those teams that can give McDonald some problems tonight. We'll see what McDonald does against Valley Christian, the 1 versus the 8. In the other district semifinal, it's going to be the 2 Warren JFK playing the number 11 seed Jackson Milton. That game will be played, I believe it's going to be in Howland. That's where JFK played their sectional title game. So I believe they will be playing this game up in Howland. I know that they're not going to be playing at Warren JFK because their gymnasium is in the midst of a remodel. So the JFK, I believe they're playing that game in Howland. Division 3, there will be a game played tomorrow night in Division 3. This is the South Range boys because the South Range girls are playing a regional basketball game tonight. They didn't want the boys and the girls playing on the same night, so South Range is going to play Pie Valley. They will travel to Pymatuning Valley tomorrow night That game is set to start at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Meanwhile, in the other game, it's going to be tonight. The Springfield guys are going to be hosting Champion, and that game is tonight at 7 o'clock. That is in the Northeast 1 district. Northeast 2 district, Cardinal Mooney will be hosting LeBray. That is the 2 seed versus the 4 seed. And the other game tonight at 7 o'clock, Newton Falls, the 3 seed, will be hosting number 7 Waterloo. Those are the district semifinals that will be played tonight in Division 3. In Division 2, these games are going to be played on Thursday. So D2 will be played Thursday, Saturday, where D3 and 4 supposed to be played Tuesday, Friday. In South Range's case, it's going to be Wednesday and then Friday because the South Range guys are going to be taking tonight off to support the girls who are going to be playing in a regional semi-final game against Warrensville Heights. This game will be played at Cuyahoga Heights High School this evening at 6:15. This will be a regional semi-final game. So hopefully the Raiders will win and they'll get to a regional final. And again, we made mention what was it yesterday? We made mention of this. This is something that I've been keeping track of now for my 4th year, keeping track of how the boys and the girls do in the sectional, district, regional, and state tournaments against out-of-town opponents. Now, the definition of an out-of-town opponent is a team that is outside of Mahoning, Trumbull, or Columbiana counties. And for the guys, they just concluded their sectional tournament. For the girls, last weekend, they concluded their district tournament. And Anthony and I were on yesterday, and I made this point that for the first time in 4 years, the girls had a winning record against out-of-town opponents in district play. 3 years ago, they were 2-3. 2 years ago, they were 0-6. Last year, they were 2-3. This year, they went 6-5. This is the first time for the boys to have a substantially solid record, a 640 winning percentage, if you will, in sectional play, which is something that, again, we have not seen a whole lot of. This is the best winning percentage that the guys have ever had in 4 years in sectional tournament play. 3 years ago, they were 12-11 in the sectionals. 2 years ago, 6-10. Last year, they were 10-6. This year, 16-9, a 640 winning percentage. Now, district play, it's not been good for the guys. In district play, 3 years ago, they were 2-7 in the district tournament. 2 years ago, 1-3. Last year, they were 3-5. This year, we'll see what happens. We got to get through the district rounds to see what happens. But the women, or the girls, I should say, they're now starting regional play. 3 years ago, the girls were 0-4 in regional play. 2 years ago, they were 1-3. This past year, they were 2-2 in regional play. Unfortunately, we did not get an opportunity to see what West Branch would have done. As everyone knows, that's when the proverbial stuff hit the fan, when West Branch was taken off the court 16 minutes before game time in their state semifinal game. As they were warming up, that's when the governor's office got word that they wanted to shut pretty much everything down, and that provided us with the shutdown of the rest of the winter sports, the complete shutdown of the spring sports, and then where we are right now with slowly trying to get things back to normal. But this year, to this point, it's been a really solid year, competitive year, a very competitive year for high school basketball in this area. And hopefully, knock on wood, we continue to be really, really competitive as we continue on the tournament trail. And speaking of the tournament trail, as we mentioned, Division III, it is tonight. Division III, South Range will be playing Warrensville Heights. That game will be at 6:15. The winner gets the winner of the Garrettsville-Garfield Apple Creek-Waynedale game. That game is set to be played on Wednesday night at 6:15. The finals will be Saturday afternoon at 1:30. South Range has a shot. They have a legitimate shot to get to the state semifinals, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be able to do that. On Thursday, Western Reserve will be taking on McDonald in the D4 regional semifinals. We're guaranteed to have one team in the regional championship game. The winner of that game will take on the winner of Shadyside and Loudonville, which that game is going to be played Thursday afternoon at 5:30 from Massillon Perry High School. The plus in this is the fact that Western Reserve and McDonald, hopefully they'll both be there to watch the entire game, or at least have one of the assistant coaches after the third quarter to watch the rest of the game. Or, it's you should have more than enough time to, once the game is over, which should be around, about 7 o'clock, you should have plenty of time to get into the locker room, change, and get ready to get on the floor to do your warm-ups and whatnot, because it's a 2.5-hour gap between the first and the second game, which normally the gap is an hour and 45 minutes, where sometimes, depending on how quick the 6:15 game ends, you might have just enough time to, if you're watching the whole game, to get into your locker room and get ready to get on the floor to do the pregame. But with COVID, and they got to spray everything down and wipe everything down and whatnot, it's going to be an extra hour or so. So, truth be told, if you're Western Reserve or McDonald, I would personally have the kids see the game and take a good look, first-hand look, at who you may very well be facing on Saturday night at 7:30, because one of these two teams will go to the regional championship game. And as now that we're in YSN, both of these teams are a member of the YSN family. We love games like this because we're guaranteed one of these teams will get into a regional championship game, and that's phenomenal. Backtrack a little bit, because not only is South Range in action tonight, so is Poland. Poland is going to be playing Perry tonight from Barberton High School. And by the way, Cuyahoga Falls and Barberton, not too far apart. Now, under normal circumstances, and it's anything but normal this year, under normal circumstances, if if they open the gym to everybody, under normal circumstances, you do the South Range game's 6:15, game's probably over somewhere around 7:40, 7:45. You can jump in your car, take a trip from Barberton to Cuyahoga Falls. It's well within a half an hour, and you could pretty much be there by the start of the Perry-Poland game, which is supposed to get underway at 8:15. Now, unfortunately, these are not normal times, and not just anyone is going to be going into the arena to see a basketball game. So, unfortunately, that's something that you're not going to be able to do. But under normal circumstances, Barberton and Cuyahoga Falls, I believe, maybe 20 minutes, if that. 20 minutes in a car, if that, maybe less, maybe a little, not a half an hour, I can promise you that. Barberton and Cuyahoga Falls are pretty close to each other. Anyway, South Range is playing Warrensville Heights in D3 at Cuyahoga Falls at 6:15 tonight. Poland will be playing Perry from Barberton High School, and that game is going to get underway at 8:15 tonight. So best of luck to the Bulldogs and best of luck to the South Range Raiders. Poland, they should probably be in the arena before the first game starts, because you get an opportunity firsthand. This is the plus for the team that's playing the nightcap of the doubleheader. The two teams that are playing in the nightcap, this is a serious plus for them. If they get up there early, in time for the 5:30 game, you get an opportunity to scout your next opponent. If Poland is able to beat Perry, which they should be able to, they're going to get the winner of this game. Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, CVCA, will be playing Shaker Heights Laurel. Now, Shaker Heights Laurel is the perceived favorite not only to win this region, but the perceived favorite to possibly win a state championship. I will just flat out say right now, it would not surprise me if CVCA beat them tonight. It wouldn't surprise me. CVCA is a very good basketball team. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, they'd have to play an unbelievably good game, but it would not surprise me if CVCA knocked off Shaker Heights Laurel. But Shaker Heights Laurel is the favorite, and they should be. They're on paper, they're the better team. On paper, they might be the best team in this region, the best team in the state. We don't play games on paper. We play games in basketball on a court. And I like Poland's chances in this region, but they got to get past Perry first. But, you know, they have drawn the second game to where it would behoove everyone in Bulldog Nation who wanted to see a scouting report of the team that Poland could very well be playing on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Well, you have an opportunity to do that. CVCA is playing Shaker Heights Laurel in the game before Poland, and I would imagine that the Bulldogs will be there to watch that game. Should be fun. The Purple Palace, if you will. It's a cool place. If you've never been to Barberton, it's a pretty cool place. It's a pretty nice place. They've been a regional host for girls volleyball and a regional host for girls basketball, and mainly because their gymnasium is really impressive. It's an impressive gym. So Poland in action tonight, South Range in action tonight, Garrettsville Garfield in action tonight. Best of luck to the three schools. We mentioned Garrettsville Garfield because next year they're going to be in our league, one of our leagues that we cover, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference Gray Tier, and their addition is going to mean so much to the Gray Tier. Oof, man, is that Gray Tier going to get better with the addition of Garrettsville Garfield. In all sports, it's going to be that much better. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. We are hopefully going to keep everyone updated as to the what is going on in Cleveland, what is going on with everything going on with the organization. This morning, if you're just tuning in, this morning the Athletic came out with a story about the Indians front office, specifically Chris Antonetti, contradicting what Antonetti said when the original story about Mickey Callaway came out, and the fact that he was pretty much a sexual predator when it comes to dealing with women within the front offices, women that covered the teams in which he was a part of, even women that were fans of the teams in which he was coaching. It was not a good situation with Callaway. The past comes back to haunt him, and back then when the story first broke, Chris Antonetti was quoted as saying the Indians Our organization knew nothing of this. Today, there is a story in The Athletic that completely contradicts what Chris Antonetti said at that time. Will there be some consequences? Will there be some people losing their job over this? This is something that the Indians ownership and the people running the Indians, it's just going to be it's going to be something that is going to be very, very different. Mandy Bell, friend of the show, just tweeted out about a minute ago. Terry Francona was late in talking with the media. He is apparently right now in the midst of talking to the media about the story in The Athletic today, quoting Terry Francona in Mandy Bell's tweet. Quoting Tito, right now it's just not the right time to respond to some of the questions I'm sure you have. I do hope at some point we are able to, because I think we need to. Just know that we take this very, very serious, and I apologize. That is a quote of Terry Francona. And, again, if you're just tuning into the show, it's not just Chris Antonetti that was not looking very good in this. Terry Francona's not looked at in a good light with this story. Terry Francona was quoted as part of this story when the stuff hit the fan with Mickey Callaway. He was quoted as to say, "I am not losing my pitching coach over this." That's not exactly something that puts him in good light. The Indians, and be curious to see what the Indians do about this. But as I said earlier in the show, this is the tip of the iceberg. If you think this is an isolated incident and that it has not happened in other places, in other teams, in other sports, you are sadly mistaken. This is the tip of the iceberg. And while a lot of people want to sit back and say, hey, we just have to get rid of people that are, just everyone. Get rid of everyone that has ever done something like this. I would suggest not opening Pandora's box. You don't want any part of that. That's how I'm going to leave it. You don't want any part of that. Trust me when I tell you, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip of the iceberg. A lot of bad stuff happened through the years, not just in baseball, in all sports. This isn't an isolated incident. This was the norm in a lot of organizations. This was the norm. So, you don't want to open Pandora's box. Believe me, you don't, because it's just going to put a lot of sports and a lot of organizations and a lot of people in a really horrible light. Just saying. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout. Dre Smith coming up in just a bit. Stick around. More to come on this Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Joining me from Milwaukee, one of the best Midwest cities, although Dre's having a hard time trying to find food in the city of Milwaukee. Dre Smith joining us, previewing the women's quarterfinal matchup between YSU and Milwaukee. Dre, any luck with the food in the city of Milwaukee?
We're getting there. I'm downtown and I got some Starbucks, so I got that right near me. Got some Domino's nearby. Not a lot of options, but we'll make it work. We got the rental car, so we'll go around and explore a little bit and find some food. It's good.
You can certainly find a lot of cheese in Milwaukee. It's a state that loves their cheese.
That's for sure. There will be no shortage of cheese, that's for sure. But we're excited for some basketball here tonight. We made the 7.5-hour drive yesterday, so we got here safe, and now we're ready to hopefully get a win tonight and advance to the semifinals.
Okay, I was saying this was a team in Milwaukee that was not on the Penguins' schedule. Now, everyone knows the Penguins missed 4 games in their conference, the 2 games against Green Bay, 2 games against Oakland because of some stuff with COVID and another outbreak within the program. Milwaukee was not on the schedule, whether or not they played a whole season, they still weren't going to have Milwaukee on the schedule. So this is the first time that we get a chance to see Milwaukee, and Milwaukee, it'll be the first time they get a chance to see Youngstown State. So both teams on even ground when it comes to that, but it's weird that that we're playing a team that we didn't get a chance to see this year.
Yeah, it is strange to be all the way in the league tournament and see a new opponent. Obviously, we faced them a lot in the past, year in and year out, but did not see them this year. And Milwaukee really took a big jump forward this year. They finished 5th in the conference last year. Were picked 7th out of 12 teams in the preseason poll, but they came out and started the season 15-1. They were receiving votes in the national polls. They lost 4 straight, at one point to fall, to 15-5, but they really have had a good season. They shared the regular season championship with Wright State, really, improved this year, and they have a lot of firepower. They have one of the best players in the league, and Megan Wallstead, who's a forward in the middle, a sophomore who was first-team All-Horizon League. They have another player in Brandy Bisping, a forward who was a second-team All-Horizon League selection, and they're really experienced. They have a lot of seniors. A lot of players who have played a lot of games for this team. So they know the drill. They've been there and done that. But as you mentioned, they haven't seen YSU yet. And I think that creates some advantages for Youngstown State. They haven't got to face Nneka Obiizer in her freshman season. They haven't seen this new-look Penguins team. We haven't seen them either. So it's going to be interesting. I know that the head coach, John Barnes, was really happy with the week of practice. He feels like they're prepared, feels like they match up well. I think he feels good about the offensive end of the floor. The Penguins have played well on offense this year, and you look at their numbers, they're top 3 in the league in scoring offense, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. So he feels like offensively we're going to have our opportunities and be able to score inside and play our game. But the biggest concern, I think, is on the defensive end. Milwaukee has a lot of firepower. They shoot the ball pretty well. You can't really double inside on Megan Wallstead because they have so many shooters around. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on YSU's defense. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think the week of practice was really good. And really, when you look at this series with Milwaukee, it's always close games. The last 10 of the last 13 games between these two teams have been decided by 6 points or fewer. So we've had a lot of battles with them. We match up well, so I think it's going to go down to the wire again, and then it's just going to be about finishing. So it's going to be a good matchup and a lot on the line. A win, and you go to the semifinals in Indianapolis. So I think the team's excited and focused, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Dre, as we look back on the first-round game against the Mastodons, who'd only won one game all year long, good night, the Mastodons really made it tough on the Penguins. And I made the comments on the air during the television side of this. The longer the Mastodons stayed in this game, the more trouble Youngstown State was going to be in. And this game really wasn't decided until late. And there's two ways to look at it. Number one, you could look at this and go, oh my gosh, this team is really in for a horrible awakening in the quarterfinals. But you can also look at it and say, okay, this was their wake-up call. Now everyone is completely laser focused, and this team is going to be really, really solid in terms of everyone being and paying attention come quarterfinal time, and if they win that game, the rest of the tournament, because they got their wake-up call.
No, you're right, and that definitely was a wake-up call. You know, you looked at a team in Purdue-Fort Wayne that only had one win, and we dominated them in the regular season in 2 games. I mean, scored over 100 points against them in the first matchup, beat them by 42, and then came back and beat them by double digits in game 2. And, you know, I think it's natural for the players to go into that game, you know, feeling like, you know, the competition level wasn't going to be the same as against some other teams. Coach mentioned that in our pregame interview that you'll hear tonight on the broadcast, that he does feel like maybe the team, you know, let their guard down a little bit and took them lightly. And you can't do that in tournament play. Talking to Mary Dunn this week, she told me that the biggest thing they learned from that game was that anybody can play their best game on any given night, and Purdue-Fort Wayne did that. You know, you got to give them a lot of credit. They made a lot of three-pointers. They had some kids step up in some big moments. They played hard. They played with nothing to lose, and they took us to the brink. And hopefully that was a wake-up call. You know, I know the team was frustrated. The coaching staff and the players were upset with the way they performed and that it was a close game. But at the same time, like you said, hopefully that serves as a wake-up call. Hopefully it creates some momentum. And the biggest thing was they found a way. You know, they were in a tight game late, and they found a way to win. Their defense stood up when it mattered most. They didn't allow a point over the last 5 minutes of the game. So I think there's a lot to learn from that. And I think YSU has done a good job this year being ready for challenges. They faced Wright State, who finished as the number 1 seed, and took them to the brink in their very first game of the year. They took IUPUI to the brink in 2 games on the road. So they've shown that they can step up to the challenge against some of the top teams in the league. I know the team is hoping that they can play a lot better here today, and they're going to need to against Milwaukee. You know, and the biggest thing is we're going to have to shoot the ball well. We went 2 for 12 from 3 against Purdue-Fort Wayne, and you're not going to win games without shooting the ball, you know, at a higher percentage. This team is built to shoot the 3 and play inside out, and tonight against Milwaukee, you're going to get some looks because the reality is they're going to give Nneka Obiizer and Mary Dunn a lot of attention inside. So there's going to be open looks from the outside, and you got to knock them down. So that's what it's going to come down to today is making shots, and we'll see what happens. But I do think last week's game served as a wake-up call. And in this time of year, it's just about surviving and advancing. So you got that one out of the way. It was a bit of a trap game. And now you got a big challenge against Milwaukee, so we'll see if the team's ready tonight.
The voice of the YSU women's basketball team, Dre Smith, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Everything went according to plan in the first round. You've got chalk. The 1 seed is playing the 8 seed. The 2 seed is playing the 7. The 3 playing the 6. The 4 playing the 5. And I bring this up because just like the men, you're going to reseed. If there are any upsets in today's and tonight's action, those teams will, in all likelihood, wind up playing the highest seed. So Youngstown State right now is the number 7. Milwaukee is the number 2. If Youngstown State were to knock off Milwaukee tonight, and there is a really good chance that happens, they would wind up playing Wright State in the semifinals due to reseeding. Am I correct in that?
Yep, correct. Yep, if all the other seeds hold and YSU wins, and they would be the lowest remaining seed, so they would face the highest remaining seed, which would then be Wright State. So you look at that matchup, and you don't want to look too far ahead, but you feel pretty good. I mean, you turned the ball over a lot against the Raiders in those first matchups, and still found a way to be in the game late. That's a team that YSU has had trouble with in the past, but they played them well. And those are the first 2 games of the year, coming off of the pauses due to COVID. And Coach Barnes mentioned that when you come off of a pause like that, it's hard to be sharp in your first couple of games and hard to have your legs underneath you and have your game shape where it wants to be. So I think that they're eager to get another shot at some of these teams, whether it's IUPUI or Wright State. We haven't seen Green Bay. We beat Cleveland State. We beat Oakland. We didn't play Northern Kentucky. So you feel good, I think, about anybody that you go up against, heading into the semifinals. So this team really feels like they can beat anybody. I think that they understand that, they have some of the best post players in the league. They have some of the best shooters in the league. If they can find a way, this bracket sets up pretty nice. So, a win here today and you solidify yourself as a real contender in this league. And when you look at the Horizon League, I mean, it's just one of the best mid-major conferences in women's basketball in the country. You look at teams like Wright State, IUPUI, Green Bay, Milwaukee. Year in, year out, these teams are some of the best mid-major programs in the country. And Youngstown State, if they are able to find a way to win tonight and get to the semifinals, that really solidifies you as a contender in this league and really says a lot about what Coach Barnes has built here today. And he's already done a great job. He's got them in the semifinals a number of times, most recently in 2019. We've had a chance to make a run in this tournament, and the Penguins feel like they can do it again. So one win tonight would go a long way, and all of a sudden you're staring at the Final Four in Indianapolis.
I made this comment, a couple of things. First of all, with the women, obviously they've had more success in conference tournaments than the men have. The women have won 3 conference championships and have been to 3 NCAA tournaments where the men have not won a conference tournament and have never been in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, this game tonight for the women, huge to get back to the semifinals. For the men, probably you can make the case it's even bigger because it gives Jared Calhoun an opportunity to get into the semifinals for the first time as the head coach at Youngstown State. More importantly, and I want to speak on this, Dre, I really believe that if both the men and the women can win tonight, they have an outstanding chance to get to the championship game, because in today's climate with COVID, where in the past you would be playing the next night or two nights from now you would be playing the next round game, there's going to be 6 days between tonight and the semifinals on Monday. And if you give John Barnes or Jared Calhoun 6 days to prepare their team for a semifinal battle against an opponent, I'm going to go to war with John Barnes and Jared Calhoun every day of the week and twice on Sundays. They're that good of a X's and O's type of coach.
No, I agree completely. And that's the difference this year with this format is, it's not the back-to-back days that you typically see in the league tournament. I remember a couple years ago we played one day and turned around the next day and played in the morning. It's just a crazy turnaround, and it puts a lot on the players. You can't really do a lot of game planning. You just kind of have to, put in a few quick things and then go to shoot around and then do a quick scouting and go play the game. But when you have 6 days in between, that completely changes the game, and it levels the playing field. And as you mentioned, I think that, Coach Barnes and his staff have shown that they're great at game planning. They do a great job breaking down film and getting ready for opponents. I've been amazed in my time with the women's program, over the years, having a chance to watch film with the team and see the way they prepare for a game. And it's very intricate. It's very detailed. The players and coaches put a lot of work in preparing for their opponents, the strengths and weaknesses of their opponents, different game plan factors. So when you have that amount of time to prepare, that definitely, gives Youngstown State an advantage. There's no doubt about it. And, I think for this team too, they've accomplished so much. They've got to the semifinals a number of times. A couple of years ago against Green Bay, they were in the semifinals and got within an inch of advancing to the championship game. And, I think that still haunts some of the players and coaches. And, they want to get that Horizon League championship. They've accomplished a lot here, both in the classroom and on the floor, but that Horizon League championship has still eluded them. And I think that, validating everything that this program has done under head coach John Barnes with a trip to the NCAA tournament would just, like I said, really validate, what they've done here. And then they put together great rosters and great teams. And that's really the only, thing left to check off the list. Everything else they've accomplished. They've had great all-league players, great teams in the classroom, top 10 in the country, tremendous, teams with some great records. They've made it to postseason play in the WNIT and the WBI, but that NCAA tournament is special. And as you mentioned, this program has done it in the past with Coach DeGregorio, and we know how legendary those teams are and what that meant to the community. And I think that with the support that YSU women's basketball and the men's basketball team both, with the programs, the support they get, reaching an NCAA tournament would be an ultimate goal, to hang a banner in Beagley Center and make that goal a reality. That's what you play for at this level. That's what it's about, is reaching that NCAA tournament. So, I think the team has their full goals set on that, and they believe they can get there. So there's a lot on the line here tonight, and I think the momentum from a win tonight over Milwaukee would be huge. If you prove that you can beat a team like Milwaukee that went 15-5 in league play and move on to the semifinals, all of a sudden you're a dangerous team and you feel like you can beat anybody. So we'll see what happens tonight, but I know the team has a lot of confidence heading into the matchup.
Dre Smith joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And Dre, under normal circumstances, when you look at a YSU women's game, you would try to establish the inside game first, and then when they start collapsing on Mary Dunn and Nneka Obiizer and Emma Van Zanten and whoever else is in the post, that's when you would start reining the 3 game. Well, it's going to be a little bit different now. Everyone knows that the Penguins have a really solid post game with Mary Dunn and Nneka Obiizer. So, as you mentioned, they're going to get an awful lot of attention, and immediately the 3-point area is going to be wide open, and it's going to be up to McKenna Peters and Chelsea Olsen and Malia Magestro and some of the other bombardiers from 3-point range to be dead on accurate in order to open up the post game. And Youngstown State's going to have to hit the perimeter shots in order to get Mary Dunn and Nneka Obiizer more involved in this offense. And just plain and simple, for YSU to win tonight, they're going to have to be able to establish the perimeter game early. Otherwise, they're going to be in a really, really deep hole.
Yeah, it's going to be key. As I mentioned earlier, you got to make shots tonight. Milwaukee is a team that leads the league in defense, most defensive categories. They allow the fewest points per game, as they're giving up just 55 points per game. They lead the league in field goal percentage defense. They're second in 3-point percentage defense. They're first in the league in blocks. So they are a defensive nightmare. I mean, they really do a good job holding teams down. They're 18th in the country in scoring defense. So, they do a great job. So shooting the basketball and opening up the inside, like you mentioned, is going to be huge. There's a lot of pressure on players like you mentioned, Chelsea Olsen, McKenna Peters, Malia Magestro, Maddie Shires. They have to knock down their shots tonight. This is going to be a close game. There's not going to be a lot of margin for error. Milwaukee plays hard and smart, so it's going to be a battle. So those shots are going to be key. And like I said, we went 2 of 12 against Purdue-Fort Wayne from downtown, and that's just not going to get it done. Chelsea Olsen's been struggling from 3, shooting just 25%, but we're going to have to shoot it with confidence here tonight if we want to get the win, because like you mentioned, you got to get it inside. This offense flows inside out, and to free up Mary Dunn and Nneka Obiizer, you got to be hitting from outside and be a threat. So the defense has to get out to you, and hopefully that creates some single coverage inside for Nneka and for Mary. And another big challenge tonight is going to be going against Megan Wallstead in the post. Mary Dunn's going to have her hands full going up against Wallstead as she comes in leading the league in blocks with 44. She averages 1.8 blocks per game, so she's a force on the defensive end down low. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mary and Nneka to play well against some good post defense. And if you're able to play well inside, that'll open up the outside shot. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Milwaukee matches up pretty well. They're physical, they're tough, they play really hard. That's probably what sticks out to me more than anything is just their effort. So you know it's going to be a battle, and it's going to come down to who makes shots and who wants it more. And we'll see if Youngstown State's up to the challenge.
Well, obviously, one of the things that the Penguins are going to have to do is get her off her feet, pump fakes to get her up in the air, and then draw some contact and get her on the bench as quickly as possible. But clearly, if the Penguins are going to win this game, they're going to have to hit shots from the outside. But you take a look at the rest of the matchups. Cleveland State is at Green Bay, IUPUI at Oakland, Northern Kentucky at Wright State. I had an opportunity to see Wright State in the first 2 games of the year, and what they have done, what Coach Mayweather has done down there, holy cramoly, is Wright State a really good basketball team. Go through the rest of these matchups, Dre. Do you expect chalk the rest of the way in terms of the other 3 games?
These are some really interesting matchups. When you look at number 1 seeded Wright State taking on the 8 seed Northern Kentucky, the way Wright State's played, the way they've played this year, I would expect them to win that game, but that's not going to be an easy game. Northern Kentucky is scrappy. They're tough defensively. They make things difficult on you. So I would expect a close game between Wright State and Northern Kentucky. They know each other well. Northern Kentucky is one of those teams that, they're the number 8 seed in the tournament. They started 6-0 in league play. They have a lot of talent. They're a sneaky team. They can beat anybody on any given day. Like I said, defensively, they're a lot. But Wright State just has too much offense, in my opinion, between Angel Baker and Jada Roberson and Tyler Frierson, Shamari Hale inside. They kill teams on the boards. Their talent level is just, really high, and Angel Baker is one of the best players in the league. So I would expect Wright State to advance against Northern Kentucky. It's going to take a lot to beat the Raiders. Green Bay, the number 3 seed, taking on Cleveland State, the number 6 seed. Green Bay is playing really well right now. They ended the regular season really hot. Cleveland State, I think, while they're talented and they have Mariah White, who's one of the best players in the league, I think Green Bay is just a really well-rounded team, and they're playing their best basketball right now. And it seems like every year they head into the tournament playing really well under Kevin Borseth. And I think that they're just too experienced and too tough this time of year, especially on their home floor against Cleveland State. I think Cleveland State has talent, but some holes. I don't think they're going to have enough to take down Green Bay on the road. And then the game that I'm really interested in is the number 4 seed Oakland against the number 5 seed IUPUI. IUPUI is the number 5 seed, but there's an argument that they're the best team in the league. They have the Player of the Year in Macy Williams. Rachel McLemore is an all-league player. They're tough to beat, and they have to go on the road and face the number 4 seed Oakland. And Oakland's a team that we saw. We beat them once. We lost to them once. They're a team that has a lot of talent, but they're up and down. I think that's going to be a great matchup. That's the game that I'm really curious to see what happens at 3 o'clock today, IUPUI and Oakland. I'm going to give IUPUI the edge, I think, just with Macy Williams and how talented she is and the experience that IUPUI has. They went to the NCAA tournament last year, won the whole thing. So I think that's going to be a great matchup, but they got to go on the road, so that's going to be a challenge. So my guess would be Wright State, IUPUI, and Green Bay advance, and that would put YSU, if they win tonight, against Wright State, and that would set up a matchup between IUPUI and Green Bay. So going to be some great matchups throughout the rest of this tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it is on the men's side. It's up for grabs. Anybody can win this tournament, and that's what makes it fun this time of year.
Dre, I love the fact that when we get to the semifinals at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, originally they were not supposed to get any national coverage, but apparently ESPNU and ESPN2 will be around to pick up the television coverage. And that's a lot of respect for the Horizon League. That puts the women's game in a really nice light, and that's good for recruiting as well, especially if you can get into the semifinals and the conference championship game, which will be held on national television as well.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. Anytime you can get to that Final Four and know that you're a game away from the championship, and there's something about going to a neutral site in tournament play and going there and competing. It levels the playing field. You're not on the road in a team's home gym. Now, granted, there's no fans this year, so that advantage is kind of nullified. But still, there's something about going to a neutral floor, heading to Indianapolis, which is a classic tournament city. going into the Final Four, that's a huge accomplishment. And then you're one win away from an opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament. And as you mentioned, you're on the big stage. At that point, the championship game is going to be televised on ESPNU. It's a major accomplishment to get to that point. And I think the team understands what's on the line. You have a lot of veteran players like Mary Dunn and Chelsea Olsen and McKenna Peters, Emma Van Zanten, who have kind of been here before. They've tasted what it's like to play on that stage. And it's going to take them to lead the way. The reality is, there's some young players who have not been on this stage. Neko Obiizer, as well as she's played this year as the freshman of the year, she hasn't been, on this stage against teams like this. Malia Magestro is a freshman. Maddie Shires is a sophomore. Maddie Alba is a sophomore. They haven't been here, but Chelsea Olsen, Mary Dunn, and McKenna Peters have been. So we're going to rely on them. This team all year long has gone as the seniors have went. When they play well, the team wins. When they don't, we struggle. So we're going to look for some big performances from the seniors tonight because we're going to need them against a really good Milwaukee team.
Yeah, and the cool thing is most of those seniors will be back as this is a mulligan year. And that's the coolest part of all this.
Absolutely. And that gets you really excited. When you see what the team has accomplished this year in a very weird, different type of season. Hopefully we can get back into some normalcy next year, and you bring back a lot of players with another year of experience, and you bring back Chelsea and Mary and McKenna. All of a sudden, you're looking at a team that's pretty formidable, and I think that there's some lofty goals for this team, and it starts tonight. But after that, moving forward the rest of this year and into next year, the goals and expectations are going to be very high, and I think that everyone should be really excited about the future of YSU women's basketball.
Well, hopefully you and Rob bring home winners. And like I said, we get to the conference semifinals, and I'll go to war with both of our coaches any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Call a good game tonight, Dre.
Thank you very much, Ron. We appreciate it. We'll have the call on 1390 WNIO, 740 pregame. So hopefully everybody can tune in, and hopefully we bring home a win, like you said. Thanks, Ron.
I appreciate it, brother. Dre Smith, the voice of the YSU women's basketball team, the Penguins in action in Milwaukee tonight. And fingers crossed, hopefully they win this game. Because like I said, you got 6 days to prepare for your next opponent. Now, if the Penguins win, barring an upset of Wright State, that would be their opponent. And they should know, because the Wright State Northern Kentucky game is this afternoon at 2 o'clock. If Wright State wins, and they're going to be favored to win, if Wright State wins this game, then the Penguins know who they're playing in the semifinals. If they beat Milwaukee, they have a date with Wright State. So then you pretty much know who you're playing before you even take the floor, should you knock off Milwaukee. And obviously all attention on Milwaukee. But you already know who your semifinal opponent is if you are fortunate enough to beat Milwaukee. And that is, if Wright State takes care of Northern Kentucky, that is YSU's semifinal opponent if they take care of business tonight. Now, if Northern Kentucky upsets Wright State, well, then you've really turned this tournament upside down, and then who knows what happens. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Apparently, Terry Francona has an adult son, Nick Francona, and Nick made a statement today regarding the story in The Athletic, and let's just say that it's not a good look for anyone involved from the Indians organization. We'll go over what Terry Francona's adult son, Nick Francona, has to say about this coming up in just a bit. Stick around.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High Roads Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
it is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Winds is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
To Greenwood Chevrolet.
because they really went
The extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're on the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet. Before you make this commitment, and believe me when I tell you, given the prices these days of new cars and slightly used cars, I mean, it's a heck of an investment. I mean, you're talking about, paying some serious do-re-mi for a car. You owe it to yourself before you put pen to paper and sign your life away for about 4 or 5 years, depending on how long the loan is. You owe it to yourself to go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. I've said this for a number of months. Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown is a phenomenal dealership because they have the 3 qualities that you are looking for in a car dealership. They have a tremendous sales department, a tremendous service department, and a tremendous finance department. Add all 3 of them up, and you're talking about the best of the best as far as car dealerships go. So before you put pen to paper and decide to spend a significant amount of money on a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself to go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown and give them an opportunity to earn your business. Okay, this morning, and we've been talking a little bit about this. The Athletic came out with a story this morning that has put the Indians organization, specifically Indians president Chris Antonetti, Indians manager Terry Francona, in a not-so-good light. When Mickey Callaway's discretions came out, his past of sexually harassing women in multiple front offices, along with those who cover the team and those who are fans of the team. The Indians at the time, Chris Antonetti at the time, had said, we don't know anything about this. We did not know anything about this. There's an article in the Athletic this morning that completely contradicts what Chris Antonetti said. And it's also not painting Terry Francona in a pretty good light. Tito, apparently, according to the Athletic, according to the story, was quoted as saying during the entire time period in which Callaway had some skeletons in his closet and had some issues that were in the forefront while he was pitching coach. Terry Francona was quoted as saying in this morning's Athletic, I am not about to lose my pitching coach, which doesn't put Tito in a good light. Well, apparently his adult son is someone that has been following this. Nick Francona. Nick is an adult son of Tito's, and he went off today on his father, on the organization. I'll read a couple of paragraphs and we'll go from there. I was disappointed to read the reporting in The Athletic this morning by Katie Strang and Britt Girol. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I am surprised. When the news about Mickey Callaway's behavior first came out earlier this year, I confronted my father, Chris Antonetti, and others with the Cleveland Indians. I wanted to know why they didn't say anything to me when the Mets hired Mickey Callaway, and they gave him a strong endorsement. My father lied to me and said he didn't know. Additionally, I think he and his colleagues fail to understand what is acceptable behavior and what isn't. I confronted my father again this morning, and it is clear that he simply doesn't get it. I am hesitant to get into the personal details of my family situation, but my father and I do not have a particularly close relationship, largely as a result of disagreements about his conduct, some of which has been reported over the years and some of which has not. He goes on to say some other things, and we'll just leave it at that. This is a bomb, not literally a bomb, but a proverbial bomb that has been dropped on the Indians, and it'll be interesting to see what the Indians do. There is talk that a statement from the Indians is forthcoming. We made mention what Terry Francona had said in his press conference with a friend of the show, Mandy Bell, who has been on this show a couple of times. I reached out to Mandy earlier this morning, and obviously this is something that is something that it just broke. So obviously I'm not going to be hearing from Mandy, but in the next couple of days we're hoping, very much hoping, to get Mandy Bell on to get her take on this, and as a woman to get her opinion on all of this. Quoting Terry Francona from his press conference in which he spoke to members of the media in Goodyear, quoting Tito, "Right now it's just not the right time to respond to some of the questions I'm sure you have. I do hope at some point we are able to, because I think we need to. Just know that we take this very, very serious, and I apologize." We'll see what the organization does, but like I said, and I've been saying from the get-go this morning, and when I first came on, this is the tip of the iceberg. This isn't just this is something that somebody just just did. This isn't one of those, this rarely happens. No. This is definitely something that has gone on frequently, not just in baseball, in all of the male-dominated sports. And I don't mean to sound that as sexist, but I mean to sound that as in a up until 20, 25 years ago, positions that were dominated by the men. And when the women started making their way into this, when the glass ceiling had broken and women started making their way into this, this stuff was far more prevalent then than it is now. And you won't hear any of that stuff. You won't. That's, there's been so much stuff hidden when it comes to all of this. There's been so much stuff that's been swept under the rug, not just in baseball, in all sports, based on this. And I will repeat what I said earlier. You do not want to open Pandora's box. Because if you do, it's not just one organization that's going to be affected by this. There are going to be a lot of organizations affected by this. This is something that has been going on for years and years and years. And in the last couple of years with the Me Too movement and whatnot, everyone has been trying to mind their P's and Q's. And truth be told, look, everyone needs to get over the fact that there are women, established women in the game that do a damn fine job, and they should not be subjected to crap like this. Absolutely. And it's wrong for any of this to happen. There's no two ways about that. But I'm not about to open up Pandora's box or address something from years ago. Sorry. That's, and I don't know if the Indians are going to take that stand or not, but, I'll say what I said, and it's as unpopular as it sounds. I would not fire Antonetti or Chernoff or Francona over this, but I would reprimand the hell out of them and say, look, whether you guys want to get on board with this, the reality is it is a brand new landscape in sports, from the management department to those who cover the game, to those who broadcast the game, to those who are fans of the game. 30, 40 years ago, it was incredibly rare to find women who were fans of professional sports. It was rare. Very rare. You didn't find very many women that were fans of sports, let alone women that actually worked in the front offices. This is male-dominated organizations, male domination all over the place. And now that glass ceiling broke. There's women, qualified women that are in management. I made mention of the story of Kim Ang, who, 2002, so it's almost 20 years ago. She was hired about the same time I was. Now, obviously, she was hired in management. I was only a Class A broadcaster. I mean, here I am. Here's where she is. I mean, she's way up the food chain. And I will say this again. Kim Ang is the smartest person I have ever met within the Dodger organization at that time. Smartest person in terms of baseball, in terms of how the game operates, in terms of looking at the game ahead. Kim Ang should have been a general manager years ago. Should have been a president years ago. And if she were a he, it would have happened. It absolutely, positively would have happened. And unfortunately, it never did, but I'll give Kim all the credit in the world. She hung in there. She persevered. And finally, the time has come where she is now in that regard. She's now a general manager, or in that regard, with a Major League Baseball team. And it should have been years ago. It absolutely, positively should have been years ago. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. I will say this, and even though I haven't been involved in terms of grossly involved within front offices, it's been a while. Now, I do cover the game, Major League, and I look for the people that are doing my end of it, in the media end of it, the Mandy Bells, the very talented women that are in my industry, and very talented women that are doing minor league baseball. And I hope, especially now, that they're being treated on the same level as the men. But I can tell you, years ago, when I was in minor league baseball, and through the years in which I've done Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, I'm going to tell you right now, the women are not treated the same as the men. They just aren't. They aren't. It's not just a baseball thing. It is an all sports thing. They are not treated, and have not been treated in the past, the same way as the men have. It was wrong. It absolutely is wrong. But like I said earlier, you don't want to open Pandora's box. You don't want to do this. Because if you do, you're going to see some stuff that you don't want to see. You don't want to see this. Because it's this Mickey Callaway, that's the tip of the iceberg. That's the tip of the iceberg. And as in Major League Baseball, hell, I saw this in minor league baseball. This is the tip of the iceberg. The years I was in minor league baseball, I saw some really disturbing stuff. firsthand some disturbing stuff. Like I said, I hope nobody opens up Pandora's box of the past, because you don't want to see it. What I would rather see is, okay, we're now in a time and a place where none of this is going to be acceptable. And if you're thinking about having this as, oh, this is the good old boys club of years and years gone by, no. You can get the hell out of this game now, because your services are no longer rendered. You can't do it now. What you were able to do 10, 20, 30 years ago, you're not going to be able to do that now. That's not going to happen. It's not going to fly. And hopefully, professional sports have now been fixed to the point where you're not going to see stories like this come out anymore. Hopefully, that's going to be the case. I know from my experiences, even today, although in the pandemic I haven't been able to do a lot of things. I'm still able to go to Cavs games when I want to, but through the pandemic, it's a little different now. I'm waiting for the pandemic to be completely over with, and then I'll get back to going up and conversing and whatnot. But in the years that I've done it prior, the women are still treated differently, but I can honestly say nowhere near as horrible as that once was, or nowhere near as juvenile in the clubhouse as it once was. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. We'll take a time out and be back in a bit. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, here are the games that are going to be on the network tonight. And keep in mind, what do we have? 7 games on the network tonight. $9.99 will get you access to all 7 games. $9.99 will get you access to all 7 games on the network tonight. We have regional basketball action tonight from Cuyahoga Falls High School. South Range will be playing Warrensville Heights. That game gets underway at 6:15 tonight in girls basketball, regional basketball. Here are the boys basketball tournament, boys tournament basketball tonight. So LeBray is at Mooney. Waterloo is at Newton Falls. Champion is at Springfield. And actually, this is 6 games. This is 6 games that will be on the network tonight. 6 games on the network tonight. JFK is playing a district semifinal game today. I'm going to have to look and see who they're playing. But the game's going to be played at Howland, if I'm not mistaken. And Matthews is going to be at Wellsville. The South Range boys, they're going to be playing Pie Valley, up in Pie Valley, but that game is going to be tomorrow night. That game will be played tomorrow night, as they moved that game to tomorrow night. So South Range boys can, if they want to, go to the regional semifinal game. So that's going to be moved to tomorrow night. South Range taking a trip to Pymatuning Valley. That game will be moved to tomorrow night. And best of luck to the South Range boys when they play Pie Valley tomorrow night. But again, the 6 games on the network tonight. And again, the $9.99 will get you access to all 6 games on the network tonight, as we will have South Range girls traveling to Cuyahoga Falls High School at 6:15 this evening. The South Range girls are taking on Warrensville Heights. And then you have boys district semifinal tournament basketball action. LeBray is at Cardinal Mooney. Waterloo is traveling to Newton Falls. Champion will visit Springfield. Warren JFK is home in their Division 4 district semifinal game, and I believe that game is going to be played at Howland High School. And Matthews will be traveling to Wellsville. The boys district games get underway at 7 o'clock. The girls regional game between South Range and Warrensville Heights, that game will start at 6:15. And all of those games, as I mentioned, all of those games are going to be on the network tonight, and it's $9.99 for those who want to partake in the pay-per-view. It is $9.99. You get access to all those games. By the way, JFK playing Jackson Milton tonight. I certainly wanted to give the Blue Jays credit on that. JFK playing Jackson Milton tonight. That game, I believe it's going to be at Howland High School. That is a 7 o'clock game tonight. One of 6 games that will be broadcast on our network tonight. There are a number of other games that will be seen, but our YSN personalities will not be doing those games. There's a few games where the home team is going to be taking charge in their broadcast, whether it's a YouTube broadcast or the property of the home team. But we will try to get the feed of those games on our network tonight, and hopefully that will be something that we can definitely do. But again, $9.99 is the cost, and this is because of the cost that it does to put the district and regional games and all the games hereafter. Whether it be district, regional, state, even sectional games, all those games. There was a cost to us, courtesy of the OHSAA, and to offset the costs. That's why we're doing the pay-per-view with, as we did in football season. The pay-per-view covers our costs with the Ohio High School Athletic Association, and hopefully, like I said, $9.99 gets you access to every single game that we have on the network tonight, not just the game you're interested in seeing. So it is certainly a deal worthy of your attention. All right, $9.99. So make sure, and we've talked about this in the fall, make sure that you're using the device in which you're giving your credit card information. Make sure that you are using the device that you're planning on watching your game from. So in other words, if you have an iPhone like I do, it's an 8 Plus, I probably need to upgrade. I don't know if I want to upgrade to the new ones or not, but neither here nor there. If you have an iPhone, but you want to watch the game from your iPad or some other device, make sure you use the other device, the device in which you're planning on watching the games from. Make sure you use that device when you're giving your credit card information, because it's going to be that device in which you have paid for the pay-per-view. That's the device that you'll be using to watch the game, or in this case, games, because there's going to be plenty of games that you'll have access to on the network tonight. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. YSU's baseball team coming back home after a weekend in which the Penguins were able to salvage the final game of their four-game series, 2 against Nicholls State, 2 against Louisiana State University. The Penguins were able to beat Nicholls State 7-4 in the finale of the 4-game Louisiana excursion. Considering they lost a 1-run game to Nicholls State on Friday, they were in both games against LSU, especially the Saturday game, and Penguins had that game tied up going into the bottom of the 9th inning, and then LSU hit a walk-off 2-run dinger to end the game. Penguins have been in a number of games in the early part of the season. Well, the non-conference is done with for the time being. The Penguins will go into conference play starting Friday, as they will take on the Purdue-Fort Wayne Mastodons in a 4-gamer at Fort Wayne, Indiana. They'll play the Mastodons Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, a doubleheader on Saturday, game 1 at noon, game 2 at 3:30, and then a single game on Sunday, game time at 1 p.m. That's our time, as the Penguins will be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, taking on the Purdue-Fort Wayne Mastodons. Coming up after this break, we will hear from the skipper of the YSU baseball department, and that would be Dan Bertolini. He joins me coming up in a bit. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We'll take a timeout and be back with Dan Bertolini. That's coming up in a bit. Stick around.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hey, it's a Tuesday edition of Running Point. Boss is in the house. I gotta behave myself now. DJ is in the house, and mainly because you were in Louisiana over the weekend, and we're going to talk YSU baseball right now with the skipper of the Youngstown State University baseball team. He is Dan Bertolini, and he joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Have you survived the Cajun Tour 2021, young man?
Oh, it was phenomenal. What a great weekend, and despite regardless of results, I thought it was a really strong weekend for our program, and proud of the way that we played baseball this weekend.
Yeah, the old saying is iron sharpens iron, and you had an opportunity to see a really good mid-major team in Nicholls State, and obviously one of the 10, 15 best teams in the country in LSU, and I was damn proud of the fact not only were you guys competing with LSU, you could have very easily won one, if not both of those games. You guys competed on that level, and that is something that I'm hoping will take with your program as you go into conference play this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We felt on Friday, the game one against Nicholls, that was really the only game we really felt kind of that one got away from us. So that was a game that we should have won. That it was a little bit disappointing that we didn't. But it was a one-run baseball game. We played well. We started a freshman in that game, and he did a good job for 2 innings. And I think we had a couple long innings there that both of our guys that we brought in, Nick Perez and then Matt Brofsky, they had to deal with some long innings. And I think when they came back out, they weren't quite as sharp. But then, going into the night game is a tough situation. We drive from Nicholls to Baton Rouge and play, and we got there about 5:45 for a 7 o'clock game. Showed up, took a couple swings in the cage, and it was probably about an hour and 20-minute drive. And we got out, and I thought we played exceptionally well. We pitched it well. Colin Clark threw a really nice game for us. They hit a couple mistakes that typically, you don't see them all go for home runs, but in that case, he did. He struck 10 guys out, didn't walk a batter, and we had 2 guys on in the ninth, and we were 1 hit away from having a tying run at the plate. So that was a good one. We come back the next night and played a great game against LSU again. Had an opportunity to take the lead in the ninth. We had a runner on second and 1 out and couldn't get him in. Obviously, they hit a home run to walk us off, and then came back strong. I was just happy with the way that we approached each and every game, how we were able to come back on Sunday after having a tough loss on Saturday, and played really well on Sunday to get the win and kind of end that trip on a positive note.
Dan, before we go into into all 4 games, talk about the atmosphere, not just at Nicholls State, but the atmosphere in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend to play baseball. I mean, Nicholls had a great crowd there, and it was a good atmosphere. Kind of windy, but other than that, it was pretty it was a good atmosphere. And then obviously LSU got just so much respect for their program and their fans. They're tough, but they appreciate good baseball. And when we made plays, or towards the end of the game when it was tight, like they were very complimentary of our program. And it's just a fun environment to play in front of. I'd love to be there with 10,000 fans in the stands, but the 30, probably 3,000 or 3,500 that they had there provided a really good atmosphere for baseball.
It's interesting, Danny, that not everybody gets the kind of back behind the screen look that we get as announcers. And after that LSU walk-off, we had a chance to go kind of with you guys in the parking lot and watch you kind of decompress, as most people don't. And you had some great words for the team after a couple former Penguins spoke. Would you mind kind of dipping into that and kind of letting people know? Because what I saw was a great leader in that moment, and obviously you don't have to go word for word, but you had some great words for the kids about the expectation has changed at Youngstown State over the last 3 to 5 years of a program. I couldn't have been more proud in that moment. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of telling everybody what you said to the guys.
Yeah, it was really nice. We had former Penguins, Phil Klein and Cody Durth came down to watch the game. Phil's a former draft pick here, pitched in the big leagues, and he had a lot of really complimentary things to say about us, and just how much they support our program and how much it means to them, and that kind of got it started. And just talking to the guys about, it started really with this group. Our first year when we went to Louisville with these guys, the guys that are now juniors/seniors, we went to Louisville and played, and we just played against Louisville. We didn't really have an expectation, I don't think, to compete. And then we got a chance. We were a little bit better against Mississippi State and Florida State. We played some closer baseball games, but I don't necessarily know that as a group we expected to roll in there and win. But the difference was for this group is that we played all 4 games. It didn't matter who we played. Our expectation level is we're going to win baseball games, and it hurt because I think we expected to win. And, I think those experiences that we've gained over the last, 4 or 5 years have helped our program grow and I've seen the maturation process of our players. And I just told them I was proud of them, that, the way they represented themselves, the way they carry themselves. And I told Gary, I know some guys were upset, the ball was hit for a home run, and I just told Gary, we trust you, we love you, you're our guy, you're our closer, and when you get put in high leverage situations a lot, there's going to be times where you don't come through, but you got to want that ball in that situation, and we gave LSU everything they had to offer. I thought at times we were the better team, we played a better game. They were able to hit some balls, out of the ballpark, but I thought if anyone watched those games and saw the way that we played, and you took the uniforms off the two teams, I don't necessarily know you would have known which one was which. So I'm proud of our effort, and I was really proud of Gary being able to come back the next night after having a ninth inning where you give up a walk-off to come back and get the save on Sunday. I thought that was really big for him. So I just there's just a lot to be proud of. But at the end of the day, wins and losses are wins and losses. So we got to find ways to continue to grow and get better and win those games in the clutch. And I think one of our guys told one of the ushers, like, hey, well, hopefully we'll see you guys in June. So I think that was a big turning point for us.
That was one of my favorite moments of the entire trip is when that young man said, we'll see you in June, because that just tells every team needs one of those guys. But this team is filled with all different kinds of characters. You talked about Gary Cliff Jr., and I was so proud of how he responded the next day, because it was like it never happened. And everybody knows the pitchers are a little quirky, but the deeper you get in that bullpen, the quirkier they get. And you got one of the quirkiest in Gary Cliff Jr. Talk to me about the mentality of this young man and how he's continued to be a leader over his maturation process, I guess, over the last few years.
Yeah, he's had a crazy story here from Youngstown State transfer from Eastern Michigan. Came in his first year here and he was actually the first player I recruited here at Youngstown State, and he came in and had to sit that his first year, had a freak accident where he was doing some exercising and tore his meniscus, had to have surgery, so he missed most of that year. And then the next year he comes back and tears his UCL, so he has to have Tommy John surgery. So then he's out for basically most of the second year that he was here. Got to come back and pitch probably, I think he got maybe 5 or 6 appearances, just like a starter, pitch one inning and come out of the game. And then, kind of was at full, really right before he was able to come back from Tommy John, that same meniscus that he tore, the stitches kind of came out, and he had to go back in and get it re-cleaned up. So he's been through a lot here. And then for him to be able to kind of earn his way into that spot and be our closer, and he's got a lot of confidence in himself. And we're deep in our bullpen. We're old. We have a lot of veteran guys, Chad Coles and Joel Hakes, the all-time appearance leader, Dalton Eric. I mean, those guys have pitched a lot of innings and a lot of important games for us, and we have a lot of confidence anytime we can turn it over to those guys to finish the game. But it was huge for Gary to get back on the right track, pitcher clean, 9th inning, and get a save in a crucial game for us to get back to winning baseball.
Tells me you got a legitimate closer. I mean, obviously, the fact that he had to go through so much off the field tells me that he's not going to be shell-shocked if he gives up a walk-off. The next night, he'll just sit back and go, give me the ball. I'm going to get the job done this time. Don't even worry about my situation. That's my kind of guy.
Yeah, he doesn't lack confidence. I'll tell you that. So, and he's one of my favorites. He's got some quirkiness to him. He's a jokester. He'll bust some chops. But he's a fierce competitor. He wants the ball, and hopefully that's his second one on the year, and hopefully he'll be set up for a lot of those along the way.
You got a really nice compliment from a good friend of mine who's now a part of the LSU family and has been for a number of years. The pitching coach, Alan Dunn, have a relationship that goes back about 15 years. And I asked him, I said, AD, I want you to be really honest with me. What did you think of Youngstown State? And he told me, he says, they're a good club. They threw out a bunch of really good arms. They're fundamentally sound. This is a team that's going to go places, and you guys should do really well in the Horizon League this year. That's a testament not only to what you're doing with the program, Dan, but I think it's a testament of what the kids that you're recruiting, the type of the caliber of kids that you're recruiting at Youngstown State.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great group. I mean, this is a lot of people have veteran, ball clubs this year just because of COVID, but this is a really, high achieving, competitive, upperclassmen group, and we have some young guys that have started to really, really play well. But yeah, I think overall, I give all the credit to these players. They've been through a lot. We go through a lot, and for them to, it's not a usual day for most Division I programs to play in 2 different places that are an hour and a half away from each other, and not only play one game and you lose by a run and in about 80-degree weather, and then drive an hour and a half and then get out of the thing and play the number 11 team in the country and really play. We faced their number 1 starter. He was up to 98 in the first inning, and I thought we had some great swings on him. But yeah, I thought we played great baseball all weekend, and hopefully, now the games are really matter getting into Horizon League play, because our ultimate goal is to win that championship, and you gotta win. You gotta play good when you're in the conference now.
Purdue, Fort Wayne. You guys go to Fort Wayne, Indiana, to take on the Mastodons. First of a 4-game series on Friday afternoon. Give us a little taste of what we are to expect from the Mastodons of Purdue, Fort Wayne.
Well, it'll be their first go round in the Horizon League. Doug Shriver's been a great coach for a long time. He was at Purdue for a long time, and now is at IPFW, and so I know he'll have his guys ready to play. They're kind of similar to us. Their style. They're gonna do some hitting and running. They're gonna bunt. They're gonna look to run and count. They're gonna be aggressive on fastballs. And from a pitching side, they have some guys in the front of their rotation that can definitely give you trouble. They have some maybe some command issues, but have good enough stuff where it can keep you off balance, and they got some velocity. So it's going to be a scrappy, really challenging weekend where they're going to be ready to play. They play really hard, so it should be exciting. Now they only have, I believe they only have the one weekend in so far, so we got a little bit of advantage of, kind of being a little bit deeper, knowing a little bit probably more about ourselves, just playing the extra 4 games. But we're going to play at Defiance High School in Ohio because of some field conditions. So it's going to be a new environment for them, a new environment for us, and could be it's a little bit shorter of a park, so the wind blows out pretty good. So could be a high-scoring weekend, depending. So we just got to be ready to win it any way we can.
Weather's chilly, Danny, over there in Defiance in Ohio, but the bats are hot right now for the Penguins. Turner Graw busting out, being the batter of the week this week. An unbelievable weekend for Turner. You were one of the guys that said, as the season goes along, make sure you're watching Turner because he's going to be one of our guys. Very raw, and he's starting to refine that talent, and hopefully he's a long way from his potential because this kid can be a talented young man. Do you expect him to be a breakout star this weekend as well?
Yeah, I think the best part about Turner is he has no idea how good he really is. He's raw. In a sense of he hasn't played a lot of baseball. He was a 3-sport athlete in high school. Didn't play last summer. Just hasn't had a full season and only playing, whatever, we played 14 games last year. So he's still, kind of like a baby deer, like a freshman, but he has the absolute most raw skills that we have as far as, size, speed, ability to change a game. He can hit a ball out at any moment. He's a game changer for us. He played some remarkably good defense. I think that was one of the things that we worked on. He was a shortstop coming in, and we transitioned him into the outfield, and he's really started to make leaps and bounds out there defensively. Made an incredible catch against LSU. 2 of them really. One against the right field wall where he jumped up and almost basically robbed a home run, and then in the 9th inning on Saturday, a diving catch into our bullpen to give us our second out in the 9th. So I'm really looking forward. I think with this team, it could really be anyone. Could be that Horizon League batter of the week. We have a really deep lineup, but with him going the way he's going, it really helps our offense because he's a difference maker.
I got to be honest with you. As hot as the sticks are, the defense was outstanding. I would put your defense, and especially your outfield, up against anybody in the country right now. You had Bucko making an unbelievable play in right field. You talked about Turner's defense. Blake Benyo making an unbelievable catch, and Nasani holding it down in center the entire weekend. I think you sprinkled Jeff Whaler in there too. So you look at your defense. The corners are solid. Your bench is deep. This is really, as bad as COVID was to shorten the season, it's really bolstered your lineup. From the 9 guys that start to everybody on the bench. This is a really talented team, and I'm not just saying that because we're partnered with you. I was really impressed defensively.
When we talk to the players, when we bring them in, that's one of our key focuses. Like, we always talk about how we want to win. We want to win with pitching and defense. I'd love to hit, 100 home runs and be able to, score 1 million runs. But, at the end of the day, you only have to score 1 more than the other team. So, our ability to pitch and play good defense, we didn't make an error against LSU. We made a couple against Nichols, just some weird. It was a very windy.
Oh, it was a jet engine.
Yeah, as you know, it was 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing basically dead end the entire weekend. So there was some funny plays there. But, I just think our defense is strong. No matter who we put in there, we have. That's the hardest part, but the best part about my job is being able to manage and navigate, our lineups, because we have so many guys that can help us and so many guys that do things really well. Everyone got some opportunities. Braden O'Shaughnessy gets a pinch hit late in the game and ropes a ball that basically starts our 8th inning, that gets us, 2 runs to tie the ball game. You got, Pat O'Shaughnessy coming in off the bench at times, getting some starts, being able to drive the baseball around the park. Blake Benyo got a spot. Defensive replacement later in the game, was able to make a big catch. As soon as you go in the game, the ball is going to be hit to you.
Yep.
The first 2 plays get hit to right field. One's going away from the fence, and then, kind of had a little miscommunication there in right center. But, and Trey Law had a nice weekend, came in again on Sunday as a freshman. His first couple games, he got a hit in his first game, played last weekend against Troy, and then comes through with a hit, a walk, and a nice sack bunt. So we're versatile. We can kind of beat you in a lot of different ways, and I think our lineup it's been challenging, but it's a good group, and they understand that we're going to go with the guys. Andre Good had a huge weekend, so looking forward to seeing what we can do in the Horizon League.
Skip, what's the lineup going to be as far as your rotation goes? I know that in a normal 3-game series, you'd have the call-in kids 1 and 2, and then you'd have Snyder with 3. Well, now you got a 4-game series with the league. So who gets the ball for the 4-game series?
So we'll have Colin and Colin. We'll go Friday and Saturday. So the way it's going to work this weekend is we're going to play a single Friday, a single Saturday, and then a doubleheader on Sunday. So Snyder will get it in one of those. He had a great game. He's got basically our 2 wins this season, and then we're still kind of working that out. We've had a few guys in the mix. Travis Perry obviously is a guy that's been had a bunch of starts for us. So Nick Perez did a decent job last weekend in his first start of his career, and Matt Broski. So it'll be some combination of those guys throwing on Sunday. You feel good with both Collins on Friday and Saturday if they can do their job and get us a good quality start. We have some good, we're deep in the bullpen. And then, we use Snyder and then, kind of empty it out on the last game on Sunday, see where we're at. So I think any of those guys can start. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. We'll kind of see how things progress this week and make a decision a little bit closer to the weekend.
You mentioned Travis Perry. He had a nice bounce back, 2 days ago now? We traveled yesterday, so the days are starting to run together. So he came out of the bullpen and looked really good. It seemed like he sped up his delivery a little bit. Good for him. A rough outing at Troy, coming back and taking down the Colonels. Had a nice outing. Do you feel confident in Travis and what he's been able to bounce back? And again, another pitcher able to have a short memory.
Yeah, we basically told him, we had a conversation. It was already pretty much predetermined that we were going to go with one of the 2 guys that didn't start against Troy. So either Matt Broski or Nick Perez were going to be the starter on Friday, just because we didn't want to bring anyone back on short rest. And Travis had the start on the second game on Saturday against Troy. So we just didn't want to bring one of our guys back quite yet on short rest. We didn't want to move Floyd up or anything like that. So we went with Nick, and so we talked to Travis and just said, hey, listen, you're going to have an opportunity in the bullpen. The one thing, our main focus for you is we want to see a pitch with a little bit more intent. Instead of trying to save yourself to throw 4 or 5 innings, we want you to go out there and kind of empty it out and give us 2 or 3 really good ones. And he did a great job. I don't know, we didn't have the gun on the velocity, but his velocity probably looked up a tick or 2. Yep. The breaking stuff was a lot sharper. So, he's just got to continue to work on that part of it because he's got a really good arm and he's got, plus changeup. He's a big guy coming out. So depending whether he's a starter or whether he's sort of in that middle to back end, is still kind of up in the air. But I was really happy to see him kind of take that next step and really come out. And, he wasn't pouty about it. He really came out and kind of took that on and pitched at a high level.
Dan Bertolini, the manager of the YSU baseball program, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. And as I said, with the conference games now at 4-game series, you get an opportunity to find a 4th starter. And is it one of those situations where it's right now up for grabs and you're just going to go with whoever takes the bull by the horns and they're the guy, or what is the plan looking forward as we go into conference play on a weekly basis?
Yeah, I would say, I feel, we obviously feel good about the three guys with Collins and John, and then, we're still working it out on that fourth guy. Now, most of the time that'll be a doubleheader on Saturday, so that will change things just a little bit. But regardless of who it is, we just need, it's not necessarily might not be one person. We don't need a 5 or 6 inning start probably out of one guy. We have enough depth. There were some guys that have good arms that didn't hardly throw at all last weekend. So, for us, it's going to really come down to putting whoever that may be. We have enough guys that we can match it up on a game. And if one of those guys is hot and can throw 4 or 5 innings, it makes us even better. If not, we can roll to the next guy and throw out 5, 6, 7 guys that can really go out there and pitch and help us win a baseball game.
Yeah, Johnny Allstaff for one game isn't a bad idea, especially if you have 3 guys that you're comfortable with that when they're on, they can go 6 and 7 innings.
Right, yeah. I mean, any of those guys could be throw 7 innings and throw a really quality start. So it's kind of a luxury for us to have. It's a little difficult to navigate right now, but as the season goes on, everything will work itself out. I'm sure we'll have a little bit more clarity as the year goes on.
I kind of like this because you got the Collins up here, then you got Johnny Allstaff in Game 3, and then Johnny Ballgame in Game 4. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, John Snyder's thrown the ball exceptionally well, so we're happy with his progress. He threw a good game last weekend. The wind was tough, kind of holding his off-speed stuff up a little bit, but I think he gave up 2 runs in 4 1/3 innings, and kind of went out there and did his thing. So put us in a great spot to win a baseball game. And Nate Ball comes in, hadn't thrown all weekend, and threw a great, got 2 huge outs for us to get us into the 5th, and that was big for us. Got his first college win.
All right, I gotta let him in on a little secret here, Coach. That second game against LSU, we posed a question from the bullpen to the coaches, then in batting practice. It was if you had to be penned up with either a tiger or an alligator, and you had to get out alive, which one would it be and why? We asked everybody. There was only one because there was a tiger on campus, right? So they have Mike the Tiger on campus.
Mike the Tiger.
So if you had to be penned up, like you're dropped in, you got to survive, which one would you rather take on? Ron, what's your answer?
Alligator. Alligator all night long.
The only one that would choose a tiger is Shane Davis.
Dalton Eric also jumped in on the tiger.
Oh, I thought you chose the Gator wins 100 out of 100. No, it's you against the Gator or you.
They're fighting.
He said he'd rather be against the tiger.
Skip, you've not lived until you have seen someone go into the waters and alligator wrestle.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I was, they filmed that show, Swamp People, right there in Thibodeau, right where Nichols is. So I
that explains
I didn't
a ton.
get a chance to go see the Swamp People, but I didn't get to see Jacob and all the guys and Troy and all the Swamp People. But
we got in a little tussle with the people at Nichols State because they wanted to pronounce our guys' names way different than they actually are pronounced. They came in for the pronunciations, and we told them. They said, "No, that's not how it's pronounced, y'all." And I said, "No, it's because they wanted Turner Graw to be Turner Grow."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, it's Graw."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't believe that is the case, my young man." so
no, Cowboy. I said, "Boy, this is not Graw. It's Grow, son."
It's Bertolini, and I said, "No, it's Bertolini." Bertolini. It was an interesting place down there. We went to New Orleans on Sunday night after the team left. I could never cut it down there.
I love that city.
Could not cut it.
I love that city.
It was loud and dirty. That's about as deep as I want to go.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed our time on the Bayou, and I would love to go back down there and get an opportunity to play those guys again. Hopefully we'll be able to set something up. But you couldn't ask for better weather, nicer people. They were just very hospitable all the way around. And, two good programs. I give a lot of credit to Seth. He does a great job with Nichols. They're a really solid club, and they kind of know who they are. They play their game. And, I'm sure that they'll have good success this season. So, we'd love to go back down there, and maybe I'll get a chance to meet some of the Swamp People.
There you go. Is Shane Davis the Youngstown version of the Tiger King? Is that what we just figured out?
Yeah, I think he is, basically. He has no problem wrestling a tiger. He's like, you can just pet him. said, yeah, after you bite your arm off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only time I'm going to go up against a tiger is if I have a steak that inside the steak has a bunch of tranquilizers. I go, here you go, big guy.
Tigers love pepper. They hate cinnamon.
Yeah, okay. Zacharopoulos, the best line of that whole movie. Yeah, I would just throw this thing at on the floor and say, there you go, bud, have at it.
You would let a tiger eat a steak? I've seen you around a buffet, Ron. You're not letting that tiger get anything.
I mean, I've loaded this steak with a tranquilizer. If I know the steak doesn't have tranquilizer, we're having a death match to the, give me my steak, big boy. I'm going to have to,
I'll bet $50 if it had tranquilizer in it.
Now I know how to get Ron.
There it is.
Steak with a tranquilizer.
Hey, you ain't touching my food, big boy. That's not going to happen. I mean, I'll probably get eaten alive, but I'll go down fighting for my T-bone. And you ain't touching my steak, son.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting matchup. You put a steak in the middle, and you have a tiger and Ron going after it. See who can win.
Yeah, no, but as far as who I'm gonna wrestle, I'm gonna go with a gator. I saw a guy in the Dodger organization. He had Joe Walsh from the Eagles on a boat in the ocean, and he was wrestling gators. Joe Walsh looked at him and said, "Man, I can't touch this thing. My hands are $1 million with Lords of London. I ain't getting anywhere near this thing." And my man's just beating the living hell out of this gator, just elbowing him in the snout and whatnot. He's grabbing him. He says, "Come on, man." He says, this thing ain't gonna hurt you. And Joe Walsh is like, "You're crazy. I ain't touching it. I ain't going anywhere near this thing." Yeah.
If you had one player, Coach, to send in against an alligator and win, who's it going to be?
Chad Coles, without a doubt.
Nailed it.
He'd have his short shorts on, his cowboy boots, and he was a wrestler in high school. And I was recruiting him. I called him up. I said, "Hey, Chad, what's going on? What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, nothing, Coach. Just taking my pigs for a walk." I said, "What?" Yeah, he was taking his pigs
Beautiful.
for a walk. So I got him any day of the week against the gator. I know he could take it.
Love it.
Yeah, the minds of some of the baseball players. You could spend a whole week getting into that lost, deserted place. That's what makes baseball so great. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. We got some characters, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you've recruited some characters, and you've also recruited some great talent as well. And I'm really looking forward to the Horizon League play. It starts this weekend. You play the Mastodons in Defiance. Apparently, Fort Wayne is not suited for baseball right now.
Yeah, I mean it would be very similar to Eastwood. They have a grass facility, which is going to be really difficult for them to get on the field at this point. I think last week when I talked to Doug, they had like 4 or 5 inches of snow on the field. So yeah, we're going to move it. Defiance has a nice facility that we're able to use as a turf field. So looking forward to a good weekend, and hopefully when we talk next week, we're feeling pretty good.
Fly the Y, buddy.
Listen, all I know is the first 2 weekends you're going to be testing in a big way. The Mastodons this weekend and Wright State, who is supposed to be the team to beat, and we got to go to Dayton. We're going to know a whole lot about this baseball team over the next 8 games, and hopefully it's an 8-game winning streak for the Penguins.
Yeah, we take very cliche, but it's very prevalent for our program. We take literal 1 game at a time, and we'll be focused on Friday and hopefully play a really good game Friday, and then we'll worry about Saturday when we get there. But this week we'll be preparing for Friday night and kind of really diving into some of the scouting stuff for our opponent. You got to respect everyone you play and kind of know their tendencies, and then go out and go play. So we're looking forward to getting into Horizon League play. We didn't get a chance to play any Horizon League games last year, so excited to kind of do that this year.
Dan, with the games being moved from Fort Wayne, Indiana, to Defiance, Ohio, which is on the western side of the state, let everyone know the game times for the games this weekend.
Yeah, so we play at noon on Friday, we play at 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then we play a noon doubleheader on Sunday. So I don't think there's going to be any fans allowed this weekend, just with IPFW protocol. So I think hopefully they'll have them streamed. If not, you can catch the live stats for the weekend.
Has the Horizon League made a decision in terms of fans? Because I know the Horizon League said no fans during basketball season. Now that we're switching to an outdoor sport, are they addressing that situation?
Yeah, it's left up to each individual institution on what they want to do. So, we will have fans at our games. We'll follow the state of Ohio protocol on capacity. I think in March we'll be able to have. I think it shouldn't really impact us very very much. We're rarely getting 1,000 fans at a game, but I think for March it's 900, and then for April it moves up to 2,000. So we should have no issues at Eastwood, but I believe Fort Wayne is taking a stance of no fans. So we'll have to go abide by their rules.
All right, Dan, always a pleasure. Knock 'em dead this week, and hopefully we're taking 4 from the Mastodons.
Sounds good. Enjoy that steak. Don't let DJ get you a steak that you haven't seen him prepare.
Yeah, no kidding. Now that's a little disturbing that you guys want to put tranquilizers in my steak. I mean, that's a little disturbing.
Hey, that's DJ. That's not me.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me. We'll start talking Steelers-Browns if you want to go there.
Oh man, now I got to watch for all the stuff that I purchase or the stuff that I'm getting around here.
Stuff that you eat out of our fridge.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I'm just looking at this going, wait a second. Is this planted here so I eat this and then...
If it says for Ron, you probably don't want it.
Yeah, there you go. We'll go reverse psychology on everything now. Dan, always a pleasure, sir.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you guys later.
See you, buddy. See you. This should be fun. The first time to take on the Horizon League, and we didn't get that opportunity last year, unfortunately.
I gotta say, I would run through a wall for that guy. He's always so modest because the intensity that he had after that meeting was second to none. It's the kind of guy you want to play for. It's the kind of guy you want to send your kids to play for because he has such a high bar on this is who you need to be to step on our field. And yes, he does. He brings in characters, but he recruits character. And this team's always ready. They're always proper. They're always, anytime they go out to eat, like last year, they were allowed to go out to eat and, go to the breakfast and stuff like that. Shirts tucked in. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you. Please. All that stuff. There's something to that. And it's not just baseball at that point. It's learning a little bit about life, that manners matter. And, I'm so happy to see this team achieving what Danny set out because for so long people weren't giving him the credit he deserves. And now people are eyes open. Okay, we lost by 2, technically, to the 11th best team in the country. That's your Youngstown State Penguins.
Yep.
The same team that nobody wants to. He said about you get pissed off about the attendance at Indians games. 900 people can't go out to Eastwood Field in Niles at a minor league stadium and support this baseball team. That's the shame. That's the shame.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But that's not just a baseball thing. That's a all sports thing with Youngstown State, unfortunately.
They need to have a baseball place, a baseball field on campus. They need a baseball facility on campus or somewhere very near because Youngstown is known for baseball now. I mean, you look at some of the talent that comes out of Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, for them to be able to recruit kids on campus, bring some of those fans, especially now, how nice would it be you walk from a YSU football game to a YSU baseball game? That'd be awesome.
And honestly, I think that's going to be something down the road, but I don't think it's going to be that far down the road.
I hope.
I honestly think that, and there are probably about $15, $20 million needed to do something of that nature because you don't need to build a 6,000 seat stadium, but you can build a 4,000 seat stadium on campus, and the perfect location would be near the MVR over in the old Smoky Hollow where my grandparents were when they were kids. They were raised in that part of Youngstown, and that's part of the campus of Youngstown State. There's a perfect location near the MVR where you could put a baseball field and put a 3,500 to 4,000 seat stadium and be out a few $1 million doing it, but if you do it the right way, build it and they will come.
And that's the thing, Ron, is you look at the mentality of our baseball team right now, and it's, talking to one of the coaches before the Nicholls State game, they are tired of people patting them on the back for just being there. You know what I mean? Like, you lose to LSU. It used to be, wow, we played LSU. And no, we wanted to win that game.
Oh, I know.
We expected to win that game. When it was 3-3, when there was a runner at second, I looked at Richie and I said, we're winning this game. And unfortunately, we came up short. But, coaches get tired of just being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a flag planter, right? So we beat LSU. We stick our flag right in the middle of their diamond, and we say, YSU's on the map now. Because that's the kind of game that makes SportsCenter, not because YSU won, because LSU lost, but then people go, it's the Appalachian State versus Michigan, right? Appalachian State, nobody knew where the hell that was until they beat Michigan in football, and then all of a sudden, they're getting recruits because we want to play Michigan. The other side of that, which I think Danny's going to start having trouble with, is there's a lot of coaches that saw that, even that they lost by 2, that they lost by, I think, 3 in the first game, and they're going to go, I don't think we want to play them. So you have a small window when you get better to beat these teams because as you're getting paid to go there, right? They're paying for your trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
And nobody wants to get paid to get their ass kicked. And that's the one thing that I think Danny's going to have an issue with, and the athletic directors will have an issue with, is getting games scheduled with bigger teams because a bigger team doesn't want to lose to David.
Well, a couple of years ago, we beat Mississippi State when Mississippi State was solid. A few years ago, that was the case. A couple of years ago, they
2 years ago when we were there.
Yeah, didn't we beat?
No, we came close in that first game, but we didn't win.
What was it? Was it Florida State or Mississippi
Houston,
State?
we beat.
Okay, we beat Houston. All right, we were close with. Okay, my mistake. We were close with Florida State. We were close with Mississippi State. We were close with LSU.
Well, Houston. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, we had one close game that Friday with Florida State. Then they beat us like 22-2.
Yeah, but there was one game where they were up late in the game.
Yep.
Florida State came out and did what Florida State normally does to most teams. They get to come from behind win. But when Bertolini was first hired, they were a year removed from being part of the 64.
Yep.
1 year removed from that. It was a year in which the Penguins were below 500, but they got hot at the right time. They go and destroy the Horizon League. They win the Horizon League championship. They go into this tournament, second time in the history of the club that they went into this tournament. Actually won a game and then bounced. And then a year later, Coach Gillespie moved on.
Yep.
They bring in Coach Bertolini. And the ceiling or the thought of it was, okay, well, hopefully he can do a little bit better of a job. Maybe we'll be an acceptable program. No. All that stuff is now pushed to the side. Wait a second. This isn't now a doormat for the major teams, and it's not a 5th or 6th place team in the Horizon League. This is actually a team now that expects to be top 3, top 4. And this is
in the league?
Yeah.
They expect to win the league.
And this is a team that is expected to go into Mississippi State and Houston and LSU and not only compete, pull out of there with 1 win.
If you know Dan,
there's a big difference now.
If you know Dan Bertolini at all, the reason he was brought in was to be competitive. And because there is nobody that I've ever met that is more competitive than Dan Bertolini.
He's competitive.
He told me a story one time about him being in 8th grade and they won the 8th grade title in Poland and they went up against the varsity girls team and beat them by 20. And he bragged about it. And I said, well, it's a bunch of girls. He goes, I don't care who's standing on the court or who's on the field against me. I'm going to beat you until you either the innings run dry or the clock runs dry. So, that's the kind of guy you're getting. That's the kind of guy that when he recruits, that's what you're getting. He's not telling you one thing and then, moving on to the next whenever you move on to campus. He's true and true. He's the best competitor I've ever met. He's surrounded himself with a coaching staff, which is their baseball IQ's through the roof. But their character, you want to talk about quirky. they're quirky. I mean,
you ain't lying.
I love them. I love them all. I trust them with my life. I do every road trip we go on. But they are the guys that you want to hang around. They're the guys you want to win with.
Yes.
And not because of their character, but because they're the kind of guys that would be in the foxhole with you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they do that each and every week. So I know we don't give near enough credit to the coaching staff, and Dan Bertolini deserves every accolade he gets. And you know what? If there was a coach of the week, and there might be, he certainly deserves it because he kicked ass this weekend. You know, he backed up his team. There were calls that didn't go our way, and he'll never say that. But there was a strike zone that was, I mean, the Greg Maddux strike zone where it just kept getting larger and larger and larger and larger. And then, as an umpire.
Did Angel Hernandez make a trip this weekend?
Well, you know as well as I do that when that strike zone expands, trying to shrink it is,
you can't.
It's awful.
Once you've put it out there, you got to keep it out there.
Well, it was one-sided. I'll just put it out there.
Yeah.
It was one-sided towards Nichols, and typically that's the case because they're the hometown team. They're the team.
Yep.
They're the team that writes the checks.
Yep.
And, you get a little bit of that rub, but Danny gave it up for his guys. Like he let the umpire have it on a couple different times. There was one play in the LSU game that should have been instant replay. In the umpire, it's the umpire's jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as LSU wanted to play on instant replay, they got it. But we needed something to keep our guy on the base pass. We were toast. They said we didn't see enough to overturn that.
Yep.
Garbage.
Sounds familiar.
Garbage. But he's not going to say that. But as the arm of the media,
it sounds familiar.
I was one of the few, and listen, we travel well, YSU.
Yeah.
We travel well. We had dinner with the Coles. We had dinner with Mr. Benyo and Mr. Floyd. But I'll tell you this is, they get the short end of the stick a lot, and all that considered, they still took LSU to the brink. And I'm not sitting here patting them on the back, but it was impressive because I've seen this team for 3 years now, and they've gone through a lot, and they embody Youngstown because they have grit, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite teams to watch.
It's going to be one of those years if they used what they learned over the last 8 games, if they use it, and I'm sure they're going to. This is going to be really good news for YSU come Horizon League time.
Love it.
And it starts this weekend. And like I said, you're tested right out of the get-go. The Wright State, the Mastodons first. You're tested right out of the get-go. We're gonna find out just how good this Youngstown State team is in the first 2 weekends. And I honestly think that this team is going to be heard from this year in the Horizon.
Well,
they're going to be heard from.
The one man said it best. We'll see you in June, and I think that's a mantra that this team's going to embody. Is they want to be part of that College World Series, and they know their window is short, especially some of these seniors.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, get to the Horizon League, get to the top of the Horizon League, win the tournament, get to the field of 64, and then that's when the fun stuff happes.
It was a local boy, by the way. I'm not going to give away his name, but it was a local boy that said, "We'll see you in June."
Hey,
let's go.
I love the fight. I love the excitement. I'll take about 25 more of those guys because that's what you're going to need. You're going to need to have guys that are not only looking at the game in hand, but they're also looking down the line and saying, okay, we're going to win this league, and then we're going to win the tournament, and then we're going to take care of some business come tournament time, and we'll get to the super regionals, and we'll find a way to get that taken care of. And I don't know about you guys in Baton Rouge, but we're going to be in Omaha, and we'll see you if you guys are able to do what you're able to do, what we're able to do. So
I'd love it.
Yeah, I'll take a few of those guys.
I'd fly to Omaha to see that matchup. I mean, if the Penguins end up in Omaha, we're going.
Oh, my
I don't
God.
care if we're streaming it or not. We're going.
Just to see Rosenblatt, it's a pretty nice stadium, from what I've been told. I would
follow this team into a back alley to play stickball because that's the kind of team this is.
It's a fun team.
You just want to see them play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. LSU is beautiful. Nicholls State has a nice facility. But this is the kind of team you get behind and you start rooting for because of what they've gone through. So let's go, boys. Let's fly the Y this weekend and do it Youngstown style. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can get it streamed.
Blue collar. It's a blue collar team. Perfect for a blue collar town like Youngstown, and it still is, even though the steel mills aren't around. It's still a blue collar town.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it embodies what the football team is doing, even though it's young, and we need to work on a couple of things. We'll just let that one go, but it embodies what the basketball team has done. And oh, by the way, we haven't even talked about this. Congratulations to the track and field team, both men and women. Yet another Horizon League championship, and I think it's like the millionth in a row for both teams. Crazy.
Celebrate it.
Gorby is a track and field god, small g, and just sign him to a lifetime contract because he just keeps winning. That's it. Just keeps winning.
Congratulations.
Brian Gorby just keeps winning as the coach, and yet another ring for the kids in indoor track over the weekend. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, I mean when you're hum-hawing about championships, I mean that's a good problem to have. Right?
and hopefully Dan Bertolini has put this team to where we're about to start a string of
I'm ready
championships in the Horizon League in baseball. And to my knowledge, I don't think we have what championship. We've got a postseason championship.
Well,
we've never won a regular season championship.
People say that all the time. Like, I don't understand the difference. The regular season championship, but a postseason championship.
Oh, give me the postseason any day of the week because I'm going to go to the tournaments.
Yeah.
If you give me a regular season championship, but I crap on myself in the tournament.
Do you even get a banner for that?
Oh, yeah, you get a banner and you get a ring, and okay, that's all well and good, but give me the tournament.
I want that.
I mean, if I'm going to win the championship in the regular season, then I need the tournament championship.
Why get one when you can have two at
exactly.
half price,
I'm
right?
greedy that way. You know, if you're giving me a box of Lorna Doones and there's a second one there, I'm stealing your second box as well. Screw this first box. Give me the second one.
You might want to check on those boxes from now on.
Well, yeah, they might be filled with cyanide now, thanks to you guys. Jesus. We'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Points.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Before we get out of here, let me remind everyone, we got plenty of basketball on the network, 6 games to be exact on the network, and $9.99 will get you access to all 6 games on the network tonight. Regional action, best of luck to the South Range girls as they will be playing Warrensville Heights tonight. That game is set to start at 6:15. district semifinal action in boys basketball. LeBray is at Cardinal Mooney. Waterloo travels to Newton Falls. Champion is at Springfield. Jackson Milton will take on Warren JFK. I believe that game is going to be played at Howland High School. And Matthews will be at Wellsville. $9.99 is the pay-per-view cost, and you will be able to get access to every single game on the network tonight. All right, that'll do it for the show. Many, many thanks to Dre Smith for previewing the semifinal game with the YSU women taking on Milwaukee. That game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. The YSU men are playing in Oakland this evening, and that game starts at 7:30. And hopefully, fingers crossed, both the men and the women will be victorious tonight and both get them into the Horizon League's semifinals. DJ will have Power Hour. He and the gang will do the Brady Bunch kind of checkerboard squares. Everyone's in their square, kind of like the old Brady Bunch commercial or Brady Bunch shows. The old intro. We will be back tomorrow. I might be a little late. I got an eye doctor's appointment, but Anthony Hartwig will be here, and hopefully I'll be here right at 12 noon, if not a little after 12 noon. And we will talk about the night that was both boys and girls tournament basketball. The guys are in district play. The girls are in regional play. 4 local teams in regional play. 2 teams play each other, McDonald and Reserve, on Thursday night. Poland and South Range both in action this evening. Best of luck to the Lady Bulldogs. They are taking on Perry tonight at 8:15 from Barberton High School. South Range in action against Warrensville Heights, 6:15 tonight from Cuyahoga Falls High School. That'll do it for the show. Talk to you tomorrow, noon to 3.